Hello, everybody. Welcome to our session Under the Hood with Google AI on Android. Today, we will deep dive into advanced technologies and research behind intelligent experiences on Android. And we also uncovered the latest Gemini model innovations and what you Android developers here can basically do in your apps with Google AI. We will start with quick introductions, then we will do product overviews, and we will wrap it up talking about AI future on Android and how it might affect mobile applications. So very interesting topic at the end. OK, let's start with introductions. My name is Kateryna. I'm a developer relations engineer at Google. I'm leading AI, SDKs, and tools adoption across Android developers. And today, I'm joined by our AI leads who can help me to guide you and help to implement Android intelligent experiences in your apps as well. So let's do some intros. And could you guys share what product areas you're working on? And maybe tell us a story. Why are you passionate about AI? Why you like it? And what problems are you solving at Google? Let's start with Sarah. Sarah, could you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm a product manager on the Android developer experience team. I'm focused primarily on how apps can integrate with on-device AI assistants like Gemini app. Prior to this, I worked as a product manager on app compatibility for large screens and how to build adaptive apps for different form factors. My experience working in adaptive apps made me really appreciate and realize how important it is to build experiences that are tailored to user needs and context. And this is a big reason why I'm super excited for AI and how it can make it easier for apps to develop proactive, personalized, and intuitive experiences for users. We're looking at how to frame Android as more of an agentive, smart operating system that can allow apps to connect directly to AI assistants, allowing agents and assistants to anticipate, understand, and fulfill user needs by connecting directly with apps. This idea of integrating apps with agents is pretty new and pretty nascent. We're seeing a lot of industry trends. Operating systems are adopting this. Different agents are looking into this as well, and there's a lot of standardizations and protocols coming up. So we're super excited to be in this space and start forming some developer guidance around this.
Super exciting, right? So, Sarah, could you give us some maybe overview of what intelligent experience developers might expect on Android?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really starting to think of Android as an intelligent operating system. And this has kind of two parts to it. So first is thinking of Android as, and the Android platform itself, being able to offer smarter suggestions to users and more proactive suggestions to users. So we're already seeing things in an industry like this. If you guys are familiar with Samsung, they have their Now bar feature, which surfaces glanceable and quick ambient updates on users' favorite apps. And it also offers an entry point into the app for deeper control. So that's one part of it. And then the other part that we're focusing on is how apps can actually be smarter and work hand in hand with the operating system. So this is where we're really exploring how apps can integrate with AI assistants, expose their functionality, and then the agent can take a loose user query, process that natural language, and use it to actually find functions from apps on device to fulfill user requests.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you, Sarah. OK, let's go to Oli. Oli, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a AI story and what products are you building or problem solving at Google?
OK, yeah, hi. So I'm Oli. I'm product manager, and I lead Android's AI and ML teams, which kind of spans a whole bunch of different pieces. So we build features and experiences with app product teams. We build developer tooling and infrastructure to make it easier for people who are building their own features. And we also do a lot of low-level system and OS optimization. So we span a little bit of everything across our teams. So I got into ML, I should say, a few years back. So I'm based in London, and the AlphaGo moment had just happened. And it was very clear to us in Android that there was a range of new technologies that were coming online that we needed to figure out how we could take advantage of them throughout the OS. And DeepMind, obviously based globally, but has a headquarters in London. And so we basically kind of started bouncing some ideas around with them, said, hey, we've got some ideas, here's some stuff we'd like to do, what do you think? They were super excited, right? They are incredibly motivated to drive impact with everything they're doing. And so the chance to work on an operating system that spans billions of users was like catnip to them. So very quickly, we started building up some projects, and we built things like adaptive battery, adaptive brightness, and the journey has just been incredible. Like I said, we started doing these sort of low-level system optimizations, things that work away in the background, just making your phone work better for you. And then you come to today, and now the entire OS, it's not an exaggeration to say, is influenced by AI and ML in some way. And a lot of the features we're building right front and center are using this technology. So it's really kind of been amazing to go on this journey from being in the back room, just sort of working away on stuff, to really kind of suddenly coming front and center today with the kind of things we can build.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And we will deep dive into this in a few minutes as well. OK, Sachin, do you want to go next? Could you introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Sachin Kotwani. I lead our Google AI Edge product team. That includes products like LiteRT, previously known as TensorFlow Lite, MediaPipe, and many other tools. And I got into ML also. That was the key word back then. Around 2017, 2018, I was on the Firebase team, and I was part of the product team that launched ML Kit. And it was fascinating just how different it was from anything else that just building applications or coding would do. Right? It felt very magical. We launched APIs that ran on device, in the cloud. In a few lines of code, you could recognize a person's facial structure. You could recognize objects. You could build entirely new experiences. So I was doing that and launching that product. And around the same time, I started getting into really just studying and learning ML and AI. It was painful at first, but a colleague of mine encouraged me to do it. And he said, look, it's like going to the gym. This is the future. You have to go through the pain. And I'm so glad that I did, because you all are here for that reason, right? Like, it's just magical, the experiences that you can build.
Thank you, Sachin, for your great work, by the way. Have you heard about the ML Kit in Android, by the way? Yeah? OK, raise your hand if you heard. Cool. I see a lot of hands. OK, cool. We will deep dive into that today as well. OK, Miguel, do you want to go next?
I'm Miguel. I'm a product manager working on SDKs and generative AI in Firebase. My goal is making sure that you, developer, can add generative AI into your application easily. That's my main goal and my main mission. I started playing with machine learning several years ago. I'm a super comic book fan. I have thousands of comic books at home. So my goal was about, I want just to create some kind of recognizing panels inside the comic book. So I was playing with machine learning. But I began starting in generative AI in May 2023. Oh, looks like a long time ago, because we were developing the SDKs for Gemini. Why I love generative AI and AI? Well, I am a developer at heart, and to me, it's amazing how I can get things that was impossible before with just calling 3, 4 APIs and just prompting. It's amazing. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, sounds great. I guess a lot of the audience here should have heard about Firebase, right? Like, have you heard about Firebase? Raise your hand. OK. Are you using Firebase in your apps? I'm wondering. OK, I see a few hands. OK. I guess this session would be interesting to you as well. Cool. Let's maybe deep dive into some also product overviews and understand what we launched, how you can apply it into your mobile applications as well. Sarah, you mentioned that we also launching some intelligent experiences on Android. Could you give us a couple of examples how maybe users can interact now with Android and apps and maybe Gemini?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned before, imagining Android as more of an intelligent, inventive operating system. So imagine there's a way for apps to expose their capabilities and functionality to the on-device AI agent like Gemini. And then Gemini, with its natural language processing capabilities, can take a loose user query and bridge that context to actually find apps installed on the device and functions that those apps expose to best fulfill the user's request. So you can actually try this today on a couple of Android devices, like the Samsung S25, Xiaomi 15 series, and even the Pixel 9 series. Try feeding it a prompt. Like, for example, you could say, find me a recipe for dan dan noodles and add it to an ingredients list for me. And essentially what will happen is Gemini will look for a great recipe for you and then search for an app that can create notes, and, like, for example, Google Keep. And it will generate a recipe list for you in a note in Google Keep. Another example is create a playlist for me using the top hits from last year. Gemini, again, will search for an app that can create a playlist, like YouTube Music, and then that playlist will be ready for you in the app.
Yeah, sounds exciting. I feel like if I could automate all my tasks, like starting from searching for recipe, do the grocery shopping, maybe at some point somebody will do it for me too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also put it in my notes. So basically, Gemini can connect with apps and automate these tasks, right?
Exactly. That's like the primary benefit we see for it from the consumer point of view, from the user's point of view. Just being able to really like improve productivity by connecting your apps with the agent and having this hands-free experience and letting your agent run everything for you.
Yeah, this sounds exciting. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, I'd like also to switch the topic and talk about what the audience in the room, basically Android developers, can implement themselves today. And let's start with our on-device capabilities. Basically, what is available on Android devices right now, and what you can leverage in your apps. And Oli, maybe you can give us an overview of Gemini Nano. That is our foundational model, right?
Yeah. So Gemini Nano, as mentioned, is our foundational model that we have on a range of Android devices. A foundational model is sort of just what we call a model that is trained on a really diverse range of data to perform a wide range of uses. It's really different. So traditionally, all the models we were deploying on device tended to be very focused on domain-specific tasks, right? So as Sachin mentioned, recognizing facial features or identifying whether this is a picture of a certain type of flower, for example, right? And you train your data set, make it work really well for that single task. And they tended to be quite small models. What we found is, as we really scale up the model size and the model capabilities and the data it sees, you start to get something that is dramatically more capable and powerful because it cross-learns from all different things and it finds hidden connections. So even though you might think that translation is not necessarily related to grammar or proofreading, it turns out that actually there's a lot of structural information that is shared and is the same. So when you get really good at one task, you can transfer that and use that for another. So with Gemini Nano, we're now shipping this model on device that has a wide range of capabilities and can be used in many, many different apps and experiences. But the challenge is these models are pretty large, right? So those traditional models I talked about were tens of megs, maybe hundreds of megs. Now we're talking about multi-gigabyte files. Getting that onto the device, getting it updated, making it run performantly, it's really hard, right? We know this because we work very closely with developers like yourselves and Google app teams, and they come to us and they're like, we built this prototype, it's cool, but there's no way we can ship it. So we built this system element called AI Core, right? It's a place within Android that is responsible for pulling all the pieces together that you need so you can take advantage of this foundational model. Because the model itself is just one piece in the puzzle, right? And we're really focused on how do we make it easier for you to actually build the experience you want, right? You shouldn't be doing all the plumbing. You should be focusing on the things that are specific to your app so you can make incredible experiences for your customers and users. And so AI Core basically abstracts that all away. It ships the model, it ships the safety policies, it gets the runtimes that are optimized for pieces of hardware, everything you need out of the box. And it's been a wild journey, but we're really excited to see some of the early adoption from obviously Google teams, but also from 3P developers now.
Yeah, check out our other session about Gemini Nano, and you will see some partners already using it, right?
Yeah.
And could you give us some maybe examples of how Google internal apps are using Gemini Nano?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, what's amazing is this single model can support a really wide range of uses. So a couple of examples I think of. We're seeing a really interesting pattern that's being adopted where apps are taking some kind of data. It could be structured data, it could be some kind of input they've received, and then manipulating it for display in another part of the app, right? And two examples of that recently I think are pretty cool. The Google Home app has lots and lots of information about all the different things that are happening in your home, right? If you've got Nest cameras, if you've got a Nest Protect, the smoke alarm, you might have information about a sound that's been detected in your back garden, a package that's been delivered on your door, the thermostat that's going above a certain temperature. And that's a lot of information for you to manage, right? And the way that people do it today is they come into their app, they look at the long list, they scroll down, and they find what they want, and then maybe they take an action. What they've built is a system that can sit as a widget directly on your home screen that synthesizes all information down and provides you with the most important key action you need to know about, the synthesis of information. And I think this is a really common pattern we're going to see in a lot of apps, right? If you think about list views, right? List views are just a condensed view of information that exists somewhere else in your app. But how do you transform it into the right size, right? Today, we truncate stuff. We use ellipses, and we say, there's more information. I can't show it to you all. But imagine if you could just take that information and say, make it into a one-line summary so I can display it here, but keep the important information. So we're seeing that being a really popular and common thing that's starting to appear. But the model capabilities have also grown. So we're also seeing some incredible new use cases where teams are using the nuance of understanding that these large models have to do things like grammar and proofreading, but also to do things like scam call detection. Right? This is a feature that the Google Dialer team built, which they've wanted to build for years, but was never possible because the models just were too naive. And so what they have now with this model that can really understand language is it can take in the description and what's happening on the phone call and try and interpret it and understand whether actually there is some kind of phishing or manipulative attempt going on. It's really incredible technology. And then finally, one last example
Okay, give us one more.
Is these are multimodal models. So they don't just understand text, they can also understand image and audio. And we're starting to see that being used right now with features like Google Talkback, which uses image description, so taking in images that exist on the phone that maybe have come from an outside source that doesn't have alt text already available. They can describe that to a vision-impaired user. But also features like Pixel Screenshots, who are using that to extract all the information, right, from those screenshots you've taken to remember to do something later, then you forget about it and you can't find it in your list of 4,000 screenshots you've taken over the years. And they just help you pull that information out right from that image, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah, as you can see, a lot of interesting use cases, and your app already can use it as well, right? So tell us how developers here can access it and also implement these intelligent experiences in the apps.
Yeah, so last year, we launched our early access preview program. And this was a way for us to open up access, get feedback from developers to try and understand what you wanted to do with it, what was working well, what wasn't, what the right API should be. The space is moving really fast. Frankly, a lot of the solutions we have today are a bit naive. And so we really wanted to get that feedback to make sure we're iterating in the right way. And we've learned a couple of things. One, having raw access, being able to manipulate the prompt is important. For some people who are pushing the boundaries, probably all you guys here, you need that access. You need to be able to manipulate it and use it exactly the way you want. However, we also found there's a huge range of tasks that are common across lots of apps. And developers are like, I'm doing a lot of grunge work. I'm having to build this again and again and again. Can't you just do that for me? And we're like, yeah, we should do that for you. So I'm really excited that at the end of last week, and then officially yesterday, we announced the MLKit GenAI APIs. And this is a new set of APIs that are taking some of those common needs and making them much easier to use by abstracting away all the complexity, right? So if you want to summarize stuff into 3 bullet points, if you want to proofread something, if you want to get an image description, we have done all the work to make sure that the LoRa adapters are fine-tuned for the use cases, that the prompt engineering has been done, that the quality bar has been tested across a range of different languages, so that when you use that API, you just give us the text and you get the output, right? Super simple, super clean. You can configure the parameters you want, but otherwise, you don't need to worry about anything about how it works, whether it's running on a Qualcomm chipset, a Samsung LSI, MediaTek, anything. It's all going to run performantly. It's all going to be easy to use. And super excited to get your feedback on that. That's in beta now.
Definitely. And everybody here should try this new Google API that we released. How it's called again, Oli? Gen
So this
AI?
is the Google MLKit GenAI APIs. Naming is a thing we're still working on.
Okay.
Hopefully one day the AI will solve that for app. But yeah, the GenAI APIs and MLKit.
Gen AI APIs under MLKit. So check it out. You will find also other APIs that Sachin released previously there, but this is a new one that is powered by Gemini Nano model. So please use it for tasks like summarization, proofread, rewrite, and image description, right? And actually, I have a code sample here. I'm prepared, actually. So this is like a simple code sample that shows how to summarize text. Basically, your app is just this 10 lines of code, or maybe even few less. You can summarize an article, for example, you can provide different options. For example, you want to output like 1 bullet, 2 bullets, or 3. And yeah, you can just summarize an article very easily, so users don't need to read long text or scroll. And you can summarize not just the article, but also other stuff, maybe messages, like Oli mentioned for Google Home. Check it out, by the way, how they do it. Cool? OK. Please take a screenshot. And also check out our Nano talk that is available online as well. Let's also explore use cases when Nano might not solve. For example, if some audience or developers here require some specialized models or custom solutions for their domain knowledge, or they have like very unique use cases that maybe Nano cannot solve, or maybe they want to reach out devices when Nano is not available yet. So here, I guess Sachin can help us, right? And could you give us an overview of what is available for developers?
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, if Gemini Nano solves your use case, and Ollie described a variety of them, then it comes pre-installed on a variety of devices. You should definitely use that, and it'll be very easy to implement and for your users to access. However, you have to keep in mind that these models are super impressive, but they are 1 to 2 billion parameters in size. So there's only limited knowledge that they can have. You take some of these larger models like Gemini Flash or Gemini Pro in the cloud, they have much wider corpus of knowledge and can do a lot of different things. That's not the case with smaller models. So there might be use cases where you may need to specialize them, or you may need to deploy them on devices like Kateryna said, where Gemini Nano is not available. We actually had a developer last year at Google I/O come up with this use case and said, we have people, mechanics that are out in the field that have to climb 50, 100, 200 feet to utility poles and fix some of the equipment that's there. And we can't have them take these big books and look at what part they need to replace or how to troubleshoot something. It would be great to have an ML model do that directly on the phone. Of course, there's no internet access there, so how do you get around that? You're not going to open a laptop and start searching either. That's where fine-tuning a model can help, right? You can take Gemma, many of the variants that exist, or Gemma 3N that just came out. You can take any of these open models that are supported in Google AI Edge via the LLM Inference API, bring your own data, fine-tune it, and deploy it to end-user devices. So that's just one use case. The other one that Ollie was explaining about how Google Home takes a lot of data and then synthesizes it, and it summarizes it for you, right? These models are great at taking multitude of inputs and structuring it, or vice versa, taking structured input and then give it to you in a way that a user can comprehend. The format might be different. The way in which that data is synthesized might be different. So you fine-tuning that model with your own examples is something that could be very valuable, and we really look forward to all of you playing with it.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. So if you want to maybe deploy your own custom model, it could be ML, like classic ML model as well, right?
Right.
We have APIs and tools available for you.
Absolutely. So as I was mentioning earlier, we have a lot of these APIs like object detection, image recognition. An image recognition API that comes pre-trained might be able to tell you that this is a plant, or this is an animal, or this is a person. But what if you want to identify very specialized, like different types of plants or different types of objects in a manufacturing facility? You could fine-tune those ready-to-use high-level APIs with your data as well.
Mm-hmm. And could you tell developers here what basically tools they should use, and also what's new available this year for them?
Yeah, so we are really excited to announce that we have expanded the number of supported open models in the MediaPipe LLM Inference API. So now you have over 10 models available in our Hugging Face community that are ready to use. Of course, if you want to fine-tune them, you can do that. We also have a gallery app that we launched, the Google AI Edge Gallery, that makes it really easy for you to just put that on your phone and try out the different models, see what they can do. So you can just test out the capabilities. We also have launched Improve. If you're bringing your own model and you're using the LiteRT runtime and you care about acceleration, we now have better GPU acceleration support with the ML Drift Delegate. We also launched NPU support in private preview if you really want to push the corner of what's available in terms of speed and technology and the most powerful devices. And last but not least, we also launched in private preview Google AI Edge Portal. And this is a tool that allows you to bring your LiDAR-T models, upload them to the site, and have them tested across over 100 plus Android OEM devices. So you can make sure that they run well, and what kind of performance you get out of them.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. And how about model delivery? How developers should deliver it? Because they probably don't want to put it together with the APK, right? It should increase size.
That's right. Yeah, in many cases, if you want to send this custom model that's going to be anywhere from a few hundred megabytes to a gigabyte, now you can also use the Google Play on-device AI delivery, which is available in early access, and it will take care of sending that updated model. And of course, the beauty of this is that you can have an app, you can collect data or continue to refine that model in that app, and then train a new model and deploy that model over the air to your users.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin. So basically, we have tools for you to test your models and also deliver them when users need them and to devices that you want to target specifically. So try that Play on-device delivery program that we have as well. Cool. So we just covered on-device models. We covered foundational Gemini Nano model and our new Gemini APIs under MLK that already available to you, and you can use it super easy, as I just explained, via piece of code. And we also have a lot of tools to support you if you still need your custom solution on device. But what if you need some more capable models that require maybe large files processing, like a video or maybe generating an image? Miguel, could you give us an overview of what is available for developers and how they should access those models?
Absolutely, Kate. Sachin touched a little when we will think about moving to the cloud models. One scenario is, hey, I want to support a different kind of input and output that the on-device model doesn't support. For instance, I want to generate audio, so it's a good scenario where we should move to the cloud. The second scenario is when we need a lot of information to send to the model just to get the output right. We want to send a bunch of data over there so the model can understand and get a better output. The third scenario is when you are targeting some users and your user doesn't have the device that is powerful enough to run locally. So there are three scenarios more that where you should think about cloud. And thinking about Google and Gemini models, so we already have a bunch of models and several versions of Gemini, but let me put the things simple. To me, the first way to go is always go with the Gemini Flash. Why? It's about speed, super fast. The second one is low latency. And the third one is about cost efficiency. The other good advantage of that is it has 1 million tokens. 1 million tokens is huge. You can do a lot of things with that. For instance, you can send 1 hour of a video to Gemini model, like one episode, The Last of Us.
That's quite a lot, right? Like 1 hour of video.
Or you can send even the 3 books of The Lord of the Rings plus The Hobbit. Or you can send the entire discography in a studio of the Beatles. Just to give you some sample about how much information you can send to the model at once, and it's going to process that. The good thing for developer is thinking that you are creating experiences and you can send all the history about the chat, and the model is going to get better responses. So this is the reason why you should go with Flash. Flash has also another variant, which is the Flash Live. Flash Live allows you just to have some live conversation with the model. It's a bidirectional streaming. Basically, the model is waiting for the user to send a streaming of data. The data could be audio, video, even text, and the model is going to respond in streaming audio and text as well. That's a very powerful experience that you can build for your developers. If Flash doesn't work for you and you need to accomplish very complex tasks and hard things, go to Pro. For instance, you need to analyze a lot of data and create reports, so go with Pro. You need to resolve complex logic problems, go with Pro. So basically, first option Flash, second option you can go with Pro. And if we move to generate image, we have also flavors as well. We can go with the Imagine model, the one that you see yesterday, Imagine 4, getting beautiful image. You should go with Imagine when you want to generate the best quality image. But you can also use Gemini for generate image as well. Want to use one versus another? Well, thinking about that, Gemini is a multimodal model. That means that you can send a video to the Gemini and ask to Gemini, hey, can you generate a thumbnail image for me based on this video? And it will generate that for you. So this is the flexibility that you have with Gemini model versus the high quality that you can get with Imagine.
So just to summarize, we have Gemini Flash, which is the fastest cloud model that we have.
Yep.
We have Gemini Pro for more advanced research, or basically even like providing it provides like more capabilities than Gemini Flash, right? And we also have Imagine model for image generation that developers here also can access, right? And how they can access those models, by the way?
So there are different ways. Let me go from the basics. So to access to the Gemini model, you need to get via a Gemini API. In Google, we have two Gemini API. One is the Vertex AI Gemini API. Another one is the Gemini Developer API, the one that you can see in Google AI Studio. So we have two. So you need to programming against this Gemini API. And you can do that in your service layer. In your service layer, you are going to use some kind of SDK. You can use a Python SDK, you can use an OJS, you can use a Go SDK. And then you need to communicate your service layer with your client. And you just to do all this back and forth between the client, the server, the Gemini API. Luckily, we have a product in Firebase that simplifies all this developer experience. We have something called Vertex AI in Firebase that allow developers to call directly the Vertex Gemini API directly from your Kotlin or Android app. So you don't need to build anything in your backend. And you can do it securely. This is awesome. We accelerate a lot the put in production, the feature using generative AI. The good news, Kate, is yesterday we announced that we are evolving Vertex AI in Firebase in a new product. We are rebranding everything to something called Firebase AI Logic. Firebase AI Logic is about giving you options. We support not only Vertex AI, but also we support the developer API. So you can choose which one do you want, do you prefer. And we also adding a lot of features as well. Firebase AI Logic is not only for client, it's also for server side as well. And this is the next step in the Firebase AI, generative AI options for developers.
So Firebase AI Logic basically provides SDK for developers to experiment, to implement their own features, but there's also like enterprise-oriented support, and also for those developers who use Firebase, by the way, who raised your hand, it's probably a better version, right? And you will have more support by using Vertex AI and Firebase SDK, right? Okay,
Yep.
sounds great. Thank you, Miguel, and thank you so much